Josh with Top Tier Automotive. This is my S-10. I've had it for a while, and I haven't touched it, but I wanted a fast truck, so I went and got a clean body about 4 years ago, and I think it's about time we do something with it. For the most part, I know some of what's going on here, but I haven't seen everything that's in the bed of this truck. Besides these headers, everything that's in here came with it, and I haven't pulled anything out to see what it is. So, I guess that's what we're going to figure out today. The biggest goal with this one is it's going to get an LS, it's going to get a turbocharger. We're definitely going to do some like street drag shootouts, some grudge racing, and then really shooting to get it into a drag and drive event, which means it'll have to be caged and chassis properly, but we'll burn that bridge when we get there. So as of right now, the way I got it, the way it sits, it had these wheels, had these tires, has some kind of upgraded brake system. I'm not exactly sure what it is. It looks like it's still Chevy, but something else. It does already have a Ford rear end, Ford 8.8-inch rear end. It has been converted to monoleafs, and it has Caltrax bars in it, which, for those of you who don't know what that is, later episodes will, when this is on the hoist and we're doing it, that'll all be revealed. I think next step is we've had it on the hoist once, kind of shook it down. Everything looks okay chassis wise. So we're going to basically just start pulling parts out of it and see what we have. I don't know what we have. I do know before I picked it up, it was a running driving truck with an LS in it. And then it got torn apart for a build, and then it never. It sat like this until I picked it up. So I don't know. I don't believe it was turbocharged back then, but I do know it had an LS in it, and I do know that besides the engine, most of those parts are supposed to be in the bed of this truck. So we're going to unbox some things here, and we'll see what we have. Obviously, right off the bat, going to get the cherry off the top of the sundae. We got this nice Holley high rise with some Holley fuel rails. We're definitely going to use that. I don't know if we're going to be putting an intercooler in it or not, but we'll see. We have the steering gearbox covered in duct tape. I am super, super confident that's going to work great. And then we actually got some of these like block hugger long tube headers off of a C6 Corvette here that if we decide to put it together for some reason without a turbocharger, you can revoke my man card, but we have these. Catted X pipe off that same C6 Corvette. This came off of a build we did earlier. We got a starter, I assume, for this truck. We have a VS Racing 88mm turbocharger. That is the idea here. This will be. Got a box. Looks like exhaust parts. Oh, here we have a set of On3 Racing turbo manifolds. And again, we are not sponsored by anyone. That's just what's here. Here's the other one. I think I'll just leave this stuff in the box for now. It's got, if you notice, it's got a set of good steel gaskets. It also has a set that it comes with, which are these terrible cork junk. Don't use these. Get these straight from Chevy for about 30 bucks. You'll never need another set. Got all kinds of transmission fluid. Let's see if I can get this open. Never messed with any of this before. It'll work, I promise.
1 week later.
We got this kind of gaudy front bumper that I really don't see us using, but hey, it came with the truck, so we'll see. If the rules state I have to have a bumper, then we got a bumper. This appears to be a Chevy Extreme grille and parking blinker light assembly, but it could just be a painted one. I'm not sure exactly what they look like. This is fun. We have a TCI 3200 stall torque converter. That's a fun one. That'll make you giggle like a little girl every time you stomp on it. Bracket straps on the very dusty hood, so I'm sure it's nice and scratched, but you know, don't matter when they're looking at the tail lights, am I right? Oh, that was definitely scratched. That's okay. Let's get this out of the way. Those little kitten paw prints. Was that a cat in here? All right. Here is the metal piece of the front bumper. That we will need, but it won't let us race. Oh boy. Transmission fluid, transmission fluid, transmission fluid, transmission fluid. I'm thinking maybe this thing leaked transmission fluid when it was together. But again, we'll burn that bridge when we get there. This is a drive shaft. I assume it's for this truck. Those of you that know, that is the Ford flange, so this is probably the drive shaft for this truck. License plates. Oh, this is a nice one. This part's important. Really awful U-Haul looking transmission cooler that is still attached to our turbo 400 3-speed transmission, which is going to be fantastic for what we're doing. All right, more transmission fluid. Axle straps. Boy, starting to look like maybe this thing got towed a lot. All right, got a very stock looking sway bar. We have stock fuel tank, which we might use to get it going, but probably won't have it for very long if we do. All right, there's still more. All right, so, oh yes, I forgot. Someone gutted the whole brake system. So there's one of the original brake lines that I'm sure will never get used again. This appears to be what they were using for a fuel system. If you look at it here, this would attach to the pump. And that goes into here. This is a fuel filter out of a C5 Corvette. It regulates the fuel pressure right inside of here. It makes it very easy to run fuel lines if you're doing a swap. So then this one would have ran back to the tank, and then this one goes up to the engine. Looks like we got a windshield wiper motor. Probably going to want to put that back in. Maybe a different one. Got a sopping wet power steering pump.
Currently leaking.
Yeah, we'll probably go ahead and get a different one of those maybe. Good enough. What's this? Brand new package from TBM Brakes. 9094 S-10 master cylinder. Oh, race truck. He was planning on deleting the power brakes. This is gonna be a street truck, so we may put a brake booster back in this, but we'll see. Random power steering lines, which is kind of nice. We can at least use those to make the new ones, since I'm assuming they were on the car and fit at some point. Got the super awesome, assuming knockoff NRG steering wheel. I don't know that we'll be using that. I don't know if I can pull that off. Okay. Yeah. Ratchet strap. You know, ratchet straps and jumper clips. I don't care what you're doing, they get stuck on something. My granddad always said, if you find yourself parachuting without a parachute, grab yourself a set of jumper cables so they get hooked on something on the way down. We got a small fan, got a big fan. I assume this was on our trans cooler. This was obviously on the radiator, or maybe they both were. I don't know. We'll probably get better ones because I doubt these cool good enough for street driving a turbo truck. But they're in here. We got more of the factory brake lines, which again, I doubt we'll use, but maybe. We got ICT billet coil mounts, coil harnesses. And so far, that's the only wiring I've found is this one coil harness. That's our stuff there. And then we got, there's the other side. So we got both sides of our coil packs. We have our driver's side and passenger side motor mounts. I don't know if we'll use those. We might end up going with a plate system, which, well, when we get to that point, I'll explain what that is if we use it. We're kind of getting to the bottom of the pile here. What's in this box? This is a bunch of random pulleys. This looks like stuff for the belt drive. Oh, this is a power steering pump delete. So basically what it looks like is they had this thing set up to run a factory, either Chevy Tahoe or Chevy Corvette belt, and then just use pulleys instead of actual accessories. So this thing might not have had power steering, even though there was power steering pump. I got a brand new idler arm. Looks cheap, but it's new and in a package, so we'll probably end up using that. We got ARP flywheel bolts. Got an old ground cable. We'll probably make our own. We got new tie rods. Yeah, this is all new suspension for the front of the truck. Everything's new. It looks cheap, but it's all new. So, just to get moving, we'll probably use all that stuff. That's it. A couple old Chevy coil brackets, old stuff we won't use, rusty dipstick tube. Oh, we're gonna need that as a steering shaft. That is currently not installed in the truck because it's there. So I'm glad that's there. And we got some brake lines and a random ground cable. Yeah, it looks like they got to the point where they're just taking whatever garbage they had for the truck and throwing it in the truck before I picked it up. But that's all right. We got a lot of stuff. We can use a lot of it. Mental inventory here. I don't think I'm going to have to get a whole lot to put this truck together. So that's exciting. All right. There's a couple parts in the truck I almost forgot about. So, let's see what's in this box. Oh, you got your tinted license plate frame, you know, just in case.
That was all that was in that box?
Yep. I think that box is actually the top for this box.
Oh.
This box has, more of the world's worst exhaust manifold gaskets. Don't ever use these. If you do, don't come here.
Is there a brand that they are? So people
No,
stay
they're
away
just
from
all cork. All sorts of companies make them.
Oh,
You go,
okay.
some aftermarket companies make the good steel ones. GM makes great steel ones, and that's unless you're doing big race truck stuff, car stuff, where you're taking the manifolds on and off all the time. You just use the steel ones from Chevy, and you will not go wrong. So we got oil. Well, not oil system, which was pretty basic looking at it. They got a nice looking pickup tube here. And what I'm assuming is a Hummer H3 oil pan. Because Hummer H3 had a 5.3 liter under its bonnet. And it was small like an S-10. So this thing was chopped real short so it would clear the cross member. And that's what a lot of guys use when they swap these S-Series trucks, is they use this Hummer oil pan, which is exactly what this looks like. We will probably definitely use that at least in the beginning. I got some random interior parts, nothing big to speak about there. Get it out of the way. We have, oh, brake pads. Brand new brake pads. That's concerning. That is. There's no brake pads in the front of the truck. Looked like it was assembled, but it's not. That's it on this side. Let's see what's on the other side. All right. So, coming to this side of the truck, very, very old school mindset. I don't know if I'm going to get a shot of this real quick, but it's got these old gauges, which we will definitely be using a digital screen. That they looks cool, but that's all coming out, unfortunately. We have headlamps, important for a street truck. They won't let you race without those either. And then we got something here in a strange box, which is typically axles and stuff, but let's see. Oh, this is, oh, it probably says it right there. Yes, Mopar brake master cylinder. So yes, they were indeed planning on not running a brake booster. This works in conjunction with that plate we showed you earlier. Then you don't have a brake booster, more room under the hood. Hard as hell to stop the truck. But, and then it came with, I'm guessing, yeah, it's got a B&M Pro ratchet already installed. So someone definitely planned on going fast in this truck. And it's got the optional cup holders, which tells me they were planning to do something similar to what I was. Because you don't put cup holders in a race car unless you're going to drive it. So that's what we got. Let's see what we can turn it into. Oh, and there's a bear. This didn't come with the truck. This is one of many that I already have. This is a Gen 4 5.3 liter. I believe I pulled this out of a Tahoe, but it might have been a Silverado. I can't remember. But yeah, I got a pile of these. I might not even open this one up first. This might not even be the one that ends up going in the truck, but you get the idea. And we're going to hang a big hairdryer turbo on this thing and see if we can't send the rods to the moon. Really nothing going on up here. There was already a firewall block-off plate because no one was planning on running heat or air conditioning, which makes sense. There's not a lot of room under these when you get a big engine in them. I have never opened this box or this bag. It was bagged up like this for me when I got there so that when we towed it back, things didn't get wet or hurt. It feels like a bunch of wiring. We probably won't use any of it, but that's that. The only other thing we're talking about is there's some SSM performance tubular upper control arms. And that's about it. So, recap, we found a bunch of parts. A lot of them really cool and useful. Some of them definitely could have just gone in the garbage can, but, you know, we got garbage cans here, so that'll be okay. And we're going to see if we can't make a truck out of this thing. So, leaving you with all that, again, it's Josh at Top Tier Automotive. And remember, we're here for a good time, not a long time. This is Josh, or I am Josh?
I am
Josh. This is my S-10.
This is Josh.
This is Josh.
Huh?
What do you want to talk about?
I want you to talk about why you want this. Why did want this?
Glamour. That's good grammar right there. Top tier, and this is why.
What is it?
This is my S10.
It's a wasp.
Cool.
Ew, I see it.
Oh, right in the sun.
Right? Just be like that.
All right.
He's like,
I'm done with
I've lost
Look at
interest.
my asshole.